Hey there, lady. My name is Molly Conley, and I'm devoted to helping women reinvent their love lives, whether that's after divorce, dating on and off the apps, or in their committed relationship. Why? Because I've been there. I'm a former college athlete who filed for divorce 3 years into marriage, swam in the online dating pool into my late 30s, and now I am married to the man of my spreadsheet dreams who I met 4 months before the world shut down. As a dating and relationship coach, I help my clients shift the focus from being obsessed with finding Mr. Right to shifting to herself as Miss Right Now. We build a foundation filled with clarity, connection, and confidence, knowing she is worth waiting for. Each week on the podcast, I'll bring you love life insights and savvy guests, where you will receive the courage to release programmed limiting beliefs. Discover patterns and behaviors restricting you from finding and attracting quality men, and ways to choose yourself first so you can build a foundation for a healthy relationship with yourself and a partner. Hey there, lady. Welcome back to another episode of Reinventing the Arena. Today's episode might sound counterintuitive, but are you afraid of the relationship you want? Listen, this is a real thing I've experienced, and I know I've heard from a few of you that have also danced around this topic. So maybe you've been on a few dates with a guy and you think he's too good to be true. So you either ghost him or you dump him and decide to just jump back online to start dating again. Or you're in a new relationship and it's been like, I don't know, smooth sailing for weeks, and out of nowhere, you start wondering when the issues will appear. So you start, testing him with random questions to see if he slips up. Or maybe you're out with your girlfriends for like brunch or for wine, a happy hour. And one of them recently found out her boyfriend was cheating on her. So she starts describing his behaviors that led her to figure it out. And you realize your boyfriend or someone you're dating has similar behaviors. So you start panicking that he's cheating on you. Do any of these sound familiar? I've been there and done that for like all three of them. And I had to get over all of them in order to find out find that man I wanted to be with and that relationship I desperately wanted. Now, if you've listened to the podcast episodes, What Are Your Dating Patterns? Part 1, Part 2, as well as the one that's called 4 Ways to Shift Your Love Life, you'll realize that these 3 examples are ways you're self-sabotaging your relationships. With that said, I haven't yet shared this behavior with you yet. I literally saved it for this podcast episode because I see it with almost every single client I have worked with. And I saw it within myself repeatedly until I did some deep inner work on myself. It is worrying to the point of fear, like he's too good to be true, so you dump him. You'd rather not, fall in love with someone who turns out not to be who you thought he was. And, fears like this are normal when you have repeatedly experienced or had similar experiences that led to the same result. Yet they can lead to anxiety and chronic worrying. The darker side of this, these fears are those when you create these worst case scenarios, pushing yourself to irrational fears. The example where I shared, the girlfriend whose boyfriend, she figured out that he was cheating on her, and then you jump immediately to the worst case scenario that your guy you're dating or the boyfriend that you're with is doing the exact same thing because he has like similar behaviors. When you're having these sort of fears or worst case scenarios, you need to ask yourself, what is the fear hiding in the first place? And, I'm going to go back to the examples I just mentioned in this episode. You think the guy's too good to be true, so you ghost him or you dump him and start online dating again. The fear could be associated with the man because he's showing up authentically, and you have a fear of being seen for who you are. Is the fear of vulnerability coming up and you'd rather not let someone know you at that deeper level? Or could it even be you running from the idea of showing up fully in a relationship because you don't even know yourself? You don't even know who you really are. Or the new relationship that's been amazing, but out of nowhere, you start wondering, when will the issues appear? So you start testing him with random questions. This fear could be associated with not knowing the future because maybe you're a planner like me, and you have this anxiety of when you're not in control. Because then, when you test him, it puts you back in control of the relationship in a way that brings you a sense of security. Or the third one, your friend's boyfriend is cheating on her. So you go down that rabbit hole in your relationship. This fear could be associated with abandonment, guilt, shame for not knowing it was even happening, even if it wasn't happening at all. So the fear of judgment from others as what would, your friends or family think could also come up for you. All of these fears can lead back to a deeper reason why it's coming up in the first place. When I see this with my clients, I have to ask them what their version of success looks like in a relationship. And we work on the in-between, which is between the fear and the success. Some of like passing a ball back and forth until we get so close, we can see what's really going on. So my personal story is the last person I dated before meeting my husband was one of the most eye-opening moments that I needed to confront my fears and what was hiding underneath it all. I thought this relationship, was too good to be true. And I became anxious when I had no clue what we are or what we were at the time. He never called me his girlfriend, yet we would text each other every day, every night. And I spent time with him on the weekends. I met his friends. He met with one of mine. He even invited me to like his work holiday party. This was like weeks before that though. And when I started pushing for answers, I was starting, to relate our situation to my past relationship experiences. And I started to act in similar ways, which should have been a red flag for myself, knowing that those past relationships didn't work. And so maybe this tactic doesn't work. So he ended up pushing me away by not answering my calls or answering my texts. And he deliberately did not get back to me for, I don't know, maybe days. So the anger and the frustration just built up within me. And eventually he told me it wasn't going to work without any sort of explanation. I was so pissed that I decided to stop dating for months. And I decided to jump back into the pool with my master's swim team. I didn't see my fears then. I didn't know what success looked like in a relationship. And I knew, all I knew was that I was even more frustrated and tired with the bullshit than ever before. What pissed me off the most was that he would text me 5 or 6 months later, asking me to meet up, or would randomly text me on a holiday, like Thanksgiving. I was so curious back then to know why. Why did you end it? Why did you text me? Why are you contacting me now? 2 years later, I had still not learned my lesson. Yes, you heard that right. That went on for 2 years, that sort of pattern. It wasn't until I sat down and I peeled back, the layers within me and around me. I changed my friendship circle. I changed, my next steps I was planning for in my career. I changed how I spent my time. I started connecting with myself through reflection, journaling, and returning to something I really enjoy, which is solitude. So within a year, or maybe it was a year before I met Brad, my husband, I learned that I had been holding my self-worth to the title within the relationship. And if you're a high achiever, you might notice this because you might actually do the same thing with your career, where you hold your self-worth of how good of a job you're doing based off of your title or your validation or accomplishments within your career. I had felt incomplete without someone else in my life because I had been surrounded by others or influences that I had to have a man by my side always. I felt like I had to prove myself and my ability to love, even when I knew I didn't really want to. So my low self-worth showed up, or highlighted actually my insecurities and my lack of authenticity in a variety of ways. I was constantly self-sabotaging myself by selling myself short in every romantic relationship through, people pleasing, perfectionism, justification, and more. I had to see my truth for what it was in order to rebuild to where I could have a healthy relationship when I already thought I was ready. Doing the self-worth work is the deepest, most satisfying growth that you can do out of all the inner work. But starting here can be extremely difficult because you don't have the other lessons, the other bricks to help you lay the foundation. Like the lies you tell yourself about your relationships, your dating patterns, and self-sabotaging behaviors that keep you stuck from finding love in the first place. And of course, your inability to fully know, care, love, and trust yourself. So your self-worth helps you take intentional action with confidence. All of this so you can finally have the clarity around what you want, so you can finally feel safe, secure, joyful, and fulfilled with the man that's right for you. So right now, or maybe when you're done listening to this episode, ask yourself, what are your fears right now in your current relationship or as you're dating? And what are those fears hiding? That's a good place to start. Yet if you're looking for something more, I have something for you. This fall, starting in September, I'm holding a group coaching course. It's for 8 weeks and for 10 women. It's called Building Love Inside and Out. And right now you can join the waitlist. When you do, you receive 3 benefits that I will not be sharing elsewhere. One of them is $500 off the entire group coaching course. The waitlist will be closing Friday, July 7th. So if you're listening to this episode before then, go sign up. Even if you don't know what the future holds for you in September, you will have the opportunity to join the group coaching course for $500 less than anyone else who's interested after July 7th. Early next week, I'll be sharing more information with the waitlist, and full details will be announced in mid-June. You can sign up at reinventingthearena.com and select group coaching from the navigation menu, or you can find the link in the show notes. All right, lady, join me on Thursday for another couch conversation with my husband, Brad. Have a wonderful day, and I will chat with you soon. Thank you for listening to this episode. If this show has helped you in some way, big or small, please let me know by leaving a review wherever you listen to the podcast. It really helps other women just like you find the show. Have a good rest of your day, lady, and I will talk to you next time.